a little more than usual. But, you know, our yoga seated position, you can kneel. When you don't normally do your work kneeling, you can kneel, sitting cross-legged, half lotus, and just coming into a still position. And I still like to, you know, start with hands in prayer position in front of the heart. And I think in the last couple of days, we talked about this being, in a very soft and very kind way, the sense of protection, the sense of, if we have filled our own happiness tank, so to speak, if we, through our yoga practice, have filtered and recharged our energy field, then, you know, it's our right to, in a sense, protect that. We radiate that good vibration out, but it's like love. We give it away, that good radiation, and it multiplies. So the protection is more a sense of we can still, you know, keep our happiness, share our happiness. However, you know, take the vibrations only from the higher. So take only in the happy vibrations, those that resonate with our level of consciousness and happiness and centeredness and peacefulness. Yeah, so it's not, we're not sharing, we are. And yet we allow ourselves to reject those lower vibrations. Beautiful. So as you come into a comfortable seat, start noticing your breathing. I'd like us to chant an Om as you know, and then we stay seated for a while. And then I'd like us to visualize and practice, but without the hands, a Nadi Shodhana. But just now seems to be the time to, you know, explain that. So we start with an inhalation through the right, exhale through the left, inhale through the left, and exhale through the right. And then we keep going. So after we've chanted the Om. Yeah, so seeing also where the nostrils are open, where they're closed, how this works, doing this in seated with no fingers opening, closing the nostrils. Thank yourself for having made the commitment to come to your own home yoga practice. Yeah, what's your intention for your practice this morning? What's an intention that perhaps guides in an energetic way your day, your rest of your week? Nice. Let's chant an Om. Let's exhale together. Big inhale. And as we start keeping the eyes still closed and we start connecting to the breath, start when you're ready, when it's useful to you, to visualize the inhale through the right, exhale left, inhale through the left, and exhale through the right. And then continue on your own. And if you want to add to that experience, maybe the inhalation goes up to the third eye. So you could visualize letting that come up to the third eye and then down to the nostril again. So it's like an open triangle or an upside down V shape. If there is any, because we have our eyes closed and we just visualize it, if there is any patterns making themselves known in front of your closed eyes, or if there's any colors perhaps emerging because of your third eye expression, just see if you can sit there being the observer to all this. Nice. Finding that sense of drawing the senses inwards. And, you know, for some of us, this is like, oh, this could be my default, just sitting, breathing, not moving much. And for some of us, finding stillness, finding focus when there is no movement is at the other extreme. It's extremely challenging. And sometimes we're somewhere in between. And yoga practice, you're welcome to keep going. And yoga practice wants us to experience all the range and all the dualities, all the extreme sides, and they're united. Yoga practice unites our dualities, and yoga practice allows us to be, well, relatively comfortable in all scenarios. Which is why, as a yoga practitioner, you may have had it a little easier to navigate those challenging times around us. Because this is what we practice on the mat. Beautiful. And with your next exhalation through the right nostril, let this be the end of the Nadi Shodhana and the visualization. And just for a moment, sit in that experience and just let that experience be the way it is. Yeah. Yeah. And give those extra energies, as we always say now, those extra energies, or those different energies that are surrounding you because you're at home. Give them simply some validation. Give them recognition, give them a smile, and then come back to center. And because it's yin practice, I have to strongly assume perhaps that you have a block. If you don't, perhaps grab a book off the shelf. Hopefully the height of the block. And then keeping the eyes closed, if you can navigate that on your own at home, keeping the eyes closed, coming to lying down. And then we're going to, I've brought a book, but I'm going to read out of it, so it needs to be a little higher for you. Lifting the hips and bringing the block underneath the sacrum. So very low underneath your buttocks, half covering the buttocks and your tailbone. I have my blocks here. Here we go. And then either both legs straight or one at a time. Feet fall out to the side, knees gently out to the side. I know some of you, if you have the space now at home, arms as wide as the shoulders or overhead, feel into this. There is no default. I'm coming off, I'd like you to stay. There is no default with this. Yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful. Just finding that still space. If it's, yeah, here we go. Nice. Nice. And of course, you've taken that responsibility. You've made sure you're warm enough. Beautiful. Beautiful. And if you're new to a yin practice, or in other words, perhaps a little bit more comfortable in a dynamic practice, then perhaps, you know, this is part of the way that you could perhaps practice a sense of mindfulness and practice a sense of meditation. Because for some of us, you know, being still completely, being in that meditative state without any movement is challenging, and that's okay. So having stillness, but still being in a shape, might be that sort of crossing the bridge between finding the movement meditation in a more dynamic movement and the stillness where you just lie still or you sit still. So this is a little bit of a transition. And I'm just saying that because maybe it helps you, or maybe it helps you to pass these nuggets along to someone where you always hear, oh, I can't meditate, I can't sit still. I can't do yoga, I'm not flexible enough, or I'll get feel lost. So this could be, you know, your yin yoga practice could be that just in between. Allows you to be here, allows you to perhaps, if your mind is wanting to stay busy and active and you're okay with that, then maybe you just have to contemplate the life's question. Maybe you find the time here in your yin practice to go, I've never actually slowed down, perhaps since we're in these crisis times, since we're allowed to be at home a little more. Maybe I'd like to dwell on a few existential, philosophical questions.
And I'm saying this to simply give you the allowance to do with this practice what supports you, rather than what the book says or what I may suggest. Feel, though, everyone, if you can, that sense of compression and almost like a heaviness that sort of builds here in your lower back and your sacrum. That compression is what we want to feel, the healing sensation, and to bring about healing in the form of hydration to our connective tissue, our fascia. Apparently, there's only two ways. There is a sense of compression, what we feel now against the block, and a little higher up where the block isn't, but because our spine is sort of in extension, our lower spine, that's where we feel it too. And with elongation, or the proper expression would be tension. There's a tension in the tissue opposite to the block. Feel into this for you now. I'm again coming up, so I'm just going to check the screen a little bit closer. Feel into this. Feel into this tension. And then for some of us, it's like, yeah, I can withstand physical tension, but what about the mental tension? That, you know, that sense of, are we there yet? When we go into different shape, can I go back to neutral? Can I go back? We all have it. Especially those of us turning 44 soon. Nice. Beautiful. Oh, hello, Ingrid has joined us too. Beautiful. Now, perhaps you're simply joining the class today because it gives you the sense of finding the balance between the home workstation and the home self-care. And if then all that happens in your yin practice today is that intention being fulfilled, then that's blissful. You know, maybe you don't come ever for the physical. Absolutely fine. Just feel that. Give yourself that allowance. You have that allowance from me. Or maybe you're just here simply because it gives you structure in your day. Beautiful. Nice. Now let's acknowledge, let's come back to the feeling sensation first of all, between our eyebrows. There you go. Oh, what's the feeling here? And then that sense of space between the eyebrows. For some of us, it's sometimes like looking into space, looking into outer space, experience outer space. Just have a little feeling sense of how that feels for you. How that is for you, what comes up for you this morning. When we're allowed to feel into the third eye, into the area between the eyebrows. And perhaps, and I'm saying this because perhaps in the week when there is no 11 o'clock yin practice on, or you may not be able to do the other time slots, or you're in front of a screen in a pretend classroom or in a real work meeting, work situation, and you can't be on your mat and you can't be connected and you can't listen to my voice. Perhaps the moment you close down your eyes, just momentarily come back to that sensation, that feeling, that third eye, that perhaps allows you to connect to that outer space and allows you to bring into that sense of what practice is for you. Maybe having practiced it here, you can use it off the mat. Go, no, if I close my eyes, I just focus on my eyebrow center. That draws me back into myself. That's not meaning that we disclose or that we close ourselves off from the world, or, you know, we're disrespectful to our teachers. It's simply, no, I just need to draw in. And yet, through my third eye, connect out to the universe. If that resonates with you, take it with you. If not, that's fine. Just let it be as the experience that it is. We're simply finding ways of making our yoga practice relevant to the life as we find it now. And then very slowly coming back into a more physical sensation, moving your awareness into your belly before we come out of this shape. And maybe you go, oh, can we not feel onto where the compression is? Well, yeah, okay, you can do that too, but feel into your belly. And with your breath, with the next 10 breaths, can we bring in softness in form of a color, but I allow you to feel into what color, what shade, what comes up for you if I say the color of softness. And the color of, you know, there is a sense of vibrancy in each and every cell in your belly. Whether that for you means organs, which is the belly as your feeling center, or your belly as your center where you feel the feels. You have anxiety about how things are going and all that. Let that all be soft and smooth. What color would you associate to it? And then let that move into there with your breath. Beautiful. And then we're slowly starting to deepen your breath. I just notice for some of us it feels like, oh, really? I don't really want to move. And for some of us it's like, oh, okay, movement again. That's my default. Starting to lift and connect to your pelvic floor. And then let's start to just bend one knee at a time. Keep your eyes closed. Keep feeling that center within, with that Anjali Mudra, the hands in prayer that we had before. It's like keeping a sense of protection of our higher vibrations. So we only actually allow in those higher vibrations. Nice. And then we lift the hips up and down a few times. Inhale, lifting the hips, exhale down. And then you choose whether you want to come down onto your block or your book, or after a few rounds, you want to come down and onto the mat again. Beautiful. If there is any movement that you need to take in between, you know, I mean, maybe you need to give your pet a little cuddle, or your partner, and then coming into that sense of rebounding. You know, embracing the new environment you find yourself in. Embrace it, give it a smile. Yeah, perhaps even a sense of gratitude. It's like, how good is this? I can practice at home. I'm still held. My teacher tells me what to do. I feel a sense of community. We're in a group here. I'm made accountable because I can't just toddle off. You know, this is beautiful. So in our rebound here, it's like a mini Shavasana. Notice the effortlessness of your breath. If we close our eyes, if we just let the breath regulate after this little interruption from one shape to the other, and we can become the observer to the breath, and our mind slowly can settle. Our heart rate will settle. Yeah, it hasn't been revved up, but you know, if you take this into your life off the mat, you know, with emotions, with feeling sensations that are useful, but sometimes not supportive. So let's say we have a little bit of anxiety coming on. There's nothing wrong. It's like, just, I don't want to say this is a bad, you know, emotion or negative one. However, if it goes on and it's not useful, it's like, I have to get out of this because I have to step over that line. I have to get online. I have to do what I have to do. Then we need to find a way to actually do that. And anxiety, all those emotions that don't support us long term, they bring up a heightened heart rate. So I'm saying this, your heart rate will settle the moment you focus on your breath. And I'm never suggesting that it's an easy task, but it's a simple practice that you can use. And you can pass on to your children and those you live with and those you care for and care about. But it's always best, of course, if you can model it and you go, oh, I better know what I'm talking about. Beautiful. So make your practice relevant. And especially in those times, I see a lot of kind of, pink fluff thrown around, like, oh, people, this needs to be relevant to what we're really going through. Beautiful. So how does that lower back sacrum feel now after that compression? Oh, it's like whew, the floodgates are open. There is that beautiful flow of energy again. How's that belly feeling? How's that area feeling between the torso and the legs? Nice. How perhaps much calmer is the mind? Beautiful. And we've done that before in our class. Was it Monday? That banana shape, I think it's very useful. So our next shape we're coming into, but let's make it a really beautiful ritual, because at the moment we crave sort of structure, ritual. So it's always a ritual to come out of your mini shavasana here with deepening your breath, with switching on, switch on from your pelvic floor, because movement is safe when it comes from the center. So do that even though I might not always point it out strongly. And then let's choose one side you're moving towards into a banana shape. So start with the legs. I'm coming towards you. So I'll bring my left heel to the left, my right heel to the left, and then a little bit more. But I'm still staying on the floor with my hips, and then I wiggle my shoulder blades. So I wiggle my upper body to the left as well. So I can end up, there we go, in a banana shape. And you don't have to be on your mat if you it's squished there. That's it. And then you go, okay, what about my arms? I bring my outer arm, which in my case is my right arm, palm facing up, overhead. Oh, it gives me a sensation, a stretch like tension sensation from my right hip bone all the way. If I relax all the way into my armpit area. And I even like to bring my inner arm, like my left arm, overhead as well. And then that right arm sort of just toddles back. And then you can rotate your head over to the right. Beautiful. You may find comfort here, or as we've done on Monday, that outer leg, for me, my right leg, my right heel hooks over my left heel. Now for me, this is a bit strong. Yeah. And I do enjoy strong sensations, but it might not always be useful. So have a little feel into this. Yeah. And I don't have a preference for you, whether you actually go a little further past your edge and go, I see how banana shaped I can be today. Or if you just for gentle sensation. And I know some of us are, and I say this without judgment, just recognizing, are fairly competitive. And then our yin practice pulls us back a little, or gives us that perspective like, there's no need for that. Like, no, you don't have to be in your final expression, in your strongest expression. Why do you come to your yin practice today? We're only affecting change in our fascia here. Beautiful. If we let go muscularly, remember the 3 pillars, we come into a relatively comfortable position in our yin shape. We let go muscularly, and then we let time pass. Because simply scientifically, fascia, connective tissue, needs a longer time to react. Muscle reacts quickly. Stretch, engage, boom, we're there. Fascia needs a little time. Yeah. And then for those of us who have a little bit of a different personality, like the fast lane, this is then not so much the physical practice, but then mentally slowing down, accepting that it's just a slow paced class. A few minutes here, a few minutes there.
Useful, very useful. Beautiful shapes. Now, we're still staying. I'm just reminding you, if you had, I can see some of you holding the wrist, holding opposite elbow. Just make sure you balance that out. Allow your jaw to be soft. So the softness starting in the face. Allow there to be space between your eyebrows. Forehead broad. Belly, remember we've had the broadness, the softness, that color of softness and release into the belly. That's still present. A few more rounds of breathing before we change to the other side. Maybe now is a good time to just check in with yourself and go, okay, is this too long held? Can I maybe go into a little tighter shape without letting my competitiveness get in the way? Just a few more breaths. Beautiful. I can see some of you have even had the relaxing impact on your pets. That's beautiful. Yeah, Tessa told me the other day, so Bettina, your calming voice even calmed my dogs. Beautiful. Good. And then very, very slowly, allowing yourself, just noticing how already the mind perhaps becomes active as soon as you notice the words are changing, the tone of voice is changing. It's like, can you stay present? So that sense of full presence and ultimate mindfulness, present to what happens next. What do you do first? Can you stay in your shape and just deepen your breath? Yeah, that banana shape. That's it. And then just notice the impact. If we breathe a little deeper here and the side ribs extend, maybe that sense of space, that sense of stretch on the outer side here of your side ribs intensifies. Nice. Just a little lift of the pelvic floor. Coming back with the head. Bringing the arms to the side. Untangling that leg if you had that one hook over the other. And then coming back to center. Beautiful. Just having a few breaths here. I always suggest let your proprioception take over. So don't look whether you're straight on your mat. Just from here where you have that feeling sense of alignment, then move to the other side. I think it's safer with the lower body first. Tipple over, tipple over. That's already a strong sensation. And then with your upper body, yeah, maybe the arms overhead, maybe your shoulders had enough of overhead movement and you want to bring the arms shoulder height, palms up perhaps. One heel hooking over the other and then looking in the other direction. Beautiful, nice. Nice positions, everyone, beautiful. Now maybe on this side you feel it somewhere else. I know I do. I mean, if the buttocks, if the hip lifts a little, that's fine, but you don't want to roll onto that side, the side you shorten towards. Yeah, simply because we still want to elongate and affect change on the side you're moving away from. And if you roll over to the side, then that goes away. Let me see. Beautiful. Yeah, some of you I can see in the screen, some of you I can't, but that's fine. Yeah, excellent. Ask yourself though, that hooking of the leg over, is that really useful? Because we still want to be able to muscularly relax. And I notice myself sometimes, I hook it over for the strong sensation, then I'm actually tensing my quadricep, my thigh a little, or my belly.
So monitor yourself, feel into this. This is quite a skill to actually be able to go, I'm in a shape and there's a bit of discomfort, as you know, to muscularly relax fully. And then maybe have to adjust your posture. Sometimes that tickles our ego a little. It's like, oh, really? Beautiful. Nice. Maybe you've turned the head to the opposite side, so you get that rotation in the neck. Muscular relaxation, muscular relaxation in the jaw. How does that feel for you? Do you have your mouth slightly open? Do the lips touch? Just become aware for a moment where your tongue is sitting. Yeah. Nice. Are you having your breath coming in and out of the nostrils or through your mouth? No preference. Yin is like, just observe. It's all good. Again, checking in with the area between your eyebrows. What's happening? How does it feel? Maybe a different feeling sensation now, or different shapes that come up than there were before. Beautiful. And physically also feel now into that outer shape. Oh, and that side that we're elongating, that beautiful side bend. Perhaps you want to tighten that banana shape a little more on that one side and lengthen on the other, I don't know. Of course, you always have permission to do so yourself. Beautiful. Nice, as I said on Monday, the sense of stimulating the spleen meridian. Spleen, a sense of cleansing of the blood. Or in other words, the state of health of our blood. Yeah. Nice. Now, if you were to ask this question right now, where is feeling sensation registering for your physical body right now? Oh, okay. Yeah. Nice. And then feeling into that inner rainbow. So we've had that sort of feeling, sense, and visualization along the outer, the stretch, that elongated side, and now into the shorter. What can be felt here? What's the story here? What's going on for you here? Nice. Yeah, if the mind drifts and you feel, oh, that's not useful, you have a couple of options. Yeah, come back to the breath, just the observance of the breath. The breath is now, the breath is physical body, but also physical sensation, especially when we're in a shape. And if you want to make that practice relevant for your life, how could you use that off the mat? It's like, okay, if you're in the life situation, God, the mind is going somewhere else, but I need to stay present. I need to come back. Notice what you feel. Put your hands onto your desk or feel your feet in your shoes. Like, no, this is real. My mind's wandering, coming back. So in a sense, you use your sense of touch. What you can perceive with your senses is always now, is always real. That's not story. Beautiful. Nice, beautiful expressions from what I can see. Nice. Yin yoga practice, really the ultimate of practicing mindfulness. Being present with what comes up. Now your choice of the next 10 breaths anywhere into your physical body, your energetic body, your heart, perhaps again your third eye. Or your skull, your brain as an organ. Maybe if there's overload. Nice. And then once those 10 breaths are over for you, just coming back into deepening the breath. Taking that sense of ritual, switching on from your belly, that core, that's Mula Bandha. And then mindfully, what do you unfold first? Head, arms, take that leg out, and then move mindfully and with awareness back into where you feel is the center of your mat, back where you feel you are centered and aligned, and then allow yourself to become still. That sense of rebound. It's like, okay, can I now feel into where was that ancient shape? Where was that having an impact? And how do those physical parts feel now? And if your impact was more of a mental one or an emotional one, then you feel into that. There isn't a right or wrong, but we want to come into stillness eventually again in our rebound. Mini Shavasana. There you go, feet out to the side, hands to the side. Beautiful. And I just want to share something with you from this beautiful book, Living Your Yoga, from Judith Lasata. She's very well known yogi from the States, and she has a lot of knowledge when it comes to restorative yoga and how to take yoga off your mat. And even though I'd like our consciousness to come through and through me and then passing it on to you, because it's then of course relevant, I like what she has to say to the sense of things being impermanent. So before we move into a different shape, there is a few mantras for daily living she suggests when it comes to change or things being impermanent. And one is, or a couple of them I'll read to you. When I accept change, I accept life. And the other one is, it won't always be like this. Or as we often say, this too shall pass. Beautiful. So in a moment's time, I'd like you to again go through that ritual of deeper breaths, of connecting to the core. And I suggest a few movements before we come up to a seated position. So I'm going to do this with you, but all we do is just bending the knees, soles of the feet to the floor, and the arms up to the ceiling. Yeah, and then the legs up to the ceiling, like taking ourselves up against the imaginary wall. And then all we do is just rotation of the ankles and the wrists. And if you go, I haven't signed up for movement this morning, you don't have to do that. You can extend your mini shavasana a little. Yeah. And then changing direction, just wiggling the toes, wiggling the fingers, and coming into those rotations. Beautiful. Simply for the sake of doing it. Yeah, giving our brain a bit of information through the feet and through the hands. And then pausing this, coming over to the side, coming to a seated position. Beautiful. Lovely. Good. So we'll do a little sequence. We've done this before. We're going to do the side bend again, like this. Then we're going to come forward in our, what do they call this? Full dragonfly position. And then the side bend dragonfly on the other side. Now that top hand could be anywhere, could be like wiggledy here, wiggledy there, wiggledy have a bolster. You know, sometimes behind you go, oh, a bit of opening would be nice. I know most of you have props. Put my book away. It's nice to go behind. Yeah, nice to kind of go, oh, I'm going to just have a little lie down. Yeah, I'll show you against the pole. If you have a wall or a sofa, I can see sofas here. And we've done this in class before. You could lean yourself against the wall. So you can go sideways, how your body goes sideways, and then lean back. Don't be too complicated with this hand. If you can go further sideways, you go, oh, I can go sideways, because we want to avoid bending forward. It's first and foremost that side bend again. Oh, maybe you have a sofa, maybe you have a pole. Good. Nice. Yeah, it's an odd movement. Most of us aren't overly side benderish. Having said that, what could we do? Maybe the head. Here we go. Yeah. Maybe you can support your head. This is still strong. It's a different, it goes a little slightly differently. Yeah. Yeah. Or maybe you may see this, you know, demonstrated like this. I mean, okay. Very open. But see, even I close the chest. I don't want to do the closing of the chest. The arm behind. If you're with me, I can come and physically give you suggestions. So I'll just have to aim to give you as many little ideas. If both legs wide, it's just too strong. Bend one knee. So the leaning back against something just avoids the leaning forward, and it opens the side a little more. Let me see. Yeah, okay, Rebecca, you look like you find a comfortable position. Yeah, sofas are hugely helpful. Western family is fine. We'll just have to remember we still want to be muscularly relaxed. Yeah, Sabrina, that looks useful. Just make sure your head is supported if you let your head hang. Hang on. Calf as well. Ingrid. Yeah, so that top arm, it's nice to have that sort of pulling in a stretch like for a while, but you need to monitor here. It's like, is the stretch actually a holding of tension, muscular tension, or is the stretch really like, yeah, it's tension in the connective tissue which gives me my healing reaction, or it's tension in the muscle. We need to sort of play with it. Yeah, that looks better. Yeah, better in a sense. Feels to me that's more relaxed. Yeah, nice. Oh, if that's not the ultimate in relaxation, you're all at home wearing your bed socks. Just like, that's nice. Now, I like your setup there, Kath. That's a good idea. Yeah. Just going into, and feel, you know, it's still the side body we're opening. We make it a little bit more, I'll show you this in the most elegant way, a little bit more back of that quadratus lumborum. Yeah, with banana shape, it was mostly the side and perhaps a little around the hip flexors more. So this is a little slightly in a different position, hopefully for you as well. Beautiful. And then the stimulation in the hips. This is just lovely. Good. Good. And, you know, my aim was also to bring something across where you go, oh yeah, that did the trick in this position for that, maybe I'll do that between work meetings, or if you're working from home and you're on a screen, on a desk. It's like, okay, this could be my balancing act between the self-care and the work, between the work environment, because we have to make it up. Even, you know, maybe you have a different room, but even if you don't. So home and work and homeschooling children, and it's all tangled up. So finding that transition, nice, Ingrid, that's it. Beautiful. So we won't stay for too much longer. 10 more breaths. Again, you can do with those breaths what you choose to. And go, I like this. I like being accountable for the next 10 breaths, and go, okay, they will go into my inner thighs or my quadratus lumborum, my lower back, or just into my neck, the side of my neck where I'm leaning towards, or anywhere else. And you go, I didn't think I could actually be comfortable and muscularly relaxed in, for some of us, quite a challenging shape. And once we've done that, we can just slowly deepen the breath. No, you wouldn't have forgotten our ritual. And slowly switch on from our belly. And then we come forward. We then somehow find our way forward into this most beautiful forward bend. That feels just so luscious if we keep that for quite some time here, for a few minutes. And it's not lift and lengthen. No, there's no lift and lengthen. There is simply a let the feet fall out to the side, let the thighs be relaxed. If you need to bend your knees a little, or if that wide V shape is too much, you know, make it useful to you. It's a forward fold. If you have props, there's my proper Rooney here. Looks good like this. If you feel a little tummy-ish, then make the bolster into your tummy and lean over it. Some of us enjoy the block underneath the forehead. Oh, this would be a really, without making this restorative. So it's not that you're not having any sensation. Or maybe you want to just let your head hang. I know Linda enjoys that. Head hanging, enjoys that stretch-like sensation. Sabrina, you may always want to support your head because of the neck. Ingrid, that's it. Nice. And just notice the breath coming into natural again, the effortlessness of your breath. That way we don't have to actually apply a technique or a breath or anything, or need to remember anything. Simply observing the breath. Learning, it's a bit like learning from nature. Yeah, that sense of impermanence, we know this from nature. Nice. Now, how does it feel in your back? See if you can feel that roundedness. And for some of us, we're very open. There is a very openness from the hips. Often think of Louise. She's open in the hips, and then the spine just rounds a little. And for some of us that aren't so very open in the hips, the spine rounds a little more, and the shapes all look different. But see if you can feel into a sense of roundedness here. Yeah, can we have the spine round? So opening vertebra by vertebra. And the fascia surrounding it. And maybe we've noticed the tissue has a bit more give. So we may come a little further forward and downwards. Nice. It's such a delicious shape. Make sure you have the support you need. If you need that head supported, that torso supported, then that's what you do. If you're fairly open, I'm thinking Amelia, can I see her? You could go in that wide-legged V shape in front of the sofa, especially if you know there's hollowness underneath. You can bring your legs underneath the sofa and then just lean forward. Let me see. That's it, Russell. That's it, Kath. Nice. Rebecca, good. Oh, I love how your pets actually toddle in and out of the practice. Nice. Good. And then before we move to our other side, our side bend dragonfly, no need to look, just feeling into where there is length and elongation that we now feel in our forward bend on our back of our torso. There is compression and restriction on the opposite side. It just doesn't, it wouldn't work otherwise. And where does that register for you this morning in this morning's practice the strongest? Maybe somewhere along the belly between the pubic bone and the diaphragm. Maybe it's a little higher up between the diaphragm and the collarbones. Yeah, maybe more around the chest area. Or maybe you find it really strong in your throat. Whereabouts? And maybe that actually demonstrates a sense of change and a sense of impermanence as well. The moment I ask you, you can feel it somewhere and then it goes. So Judith, before we come out, there's a few other things to share with us. She goes also, her mantras for daily living when it comes to the change is, nothing is permanent except impermanence. And she also goes further to say, change is not a mistake. It is all there is. And then one that's perhaps a little bit more tangible, she goes, I embrace change and let go of fear. And the other two that she has to share, I'll share in a moment. So notice now the change, unintended, from coming into this shape initially a few minutes ago to now. And I don't want to imply what type of change, how it's different. Maybe there is a real palpable physical change, an anatomical change, a shift. Maybe there is a mental one or even an energetic one. Personally, my physical body is a bit more comfortable in back bends than in forward bends. So there's always an initial, a little of a bounce back, a little friction at first, mentally and physically, and then it sort of eases. Yeah. I embrace change and let go of fear. And then slowly starting to deepen your breath. Here we go, that feels different. And then we switch on from our pelvic floor. And just notice, it's simply, experiencing your body in a different light. When the breath is just natural, when we deepen our breath, it's like, oh, okay, this feels different. Slowly, slowly coming up. You can still let your head hang. Coming up, if you feel it's relevant for where you're at today, you need to wiggle, you need to move, do that. Otherwise, we're now going to the other side. So we had that one side bend. Keep the legs. Maybe you can widen them a little more. Maybe you go, that's a lot. Bring them together. And then over to the other side. But don't assume you go only as far as you did on the other side, because we already had that side stretch. We already had that forward bend. So your spine is different. Don't hold back. What would I do? I would go This would be good for me. Leaning back. What else could you do? Back and side. Oh yeah, that gives me that, that's shortening on that other side. It's like, oh, this is good for the waist. This is against spleen, gallbladder. Nice. Yeah, but if it's all, if all you feel is the sensation in the top arm, then let that out of the equation. I still want more that side opening and that other side swooshing. Yeah. Feel, make sure you have enough support. Yeah, no, those of you with the where neck tension, shoulder tension can sometimes be registering. Make sure you've got enough support for your head. Nice, Ingrid. Yeah, that's it. Can't quite see you there, Sabrina, but I trust that you're okay. I know this now. I can do letting go muscularly really well. Who would have thought? Notice how the breath is perhaps a little hard to come by in this shape. It's different variations, just for the record. You can do this with a block. Don't need a bolster. We don't need anything. Comfort. Finding comfort when there is still a physical sensation and a slightly physical discomfort. Yeah, how can we, and we all have to practice this. You know, this outside situation made us very uncomfortable. And it was felt in all the bodies, the mental, the emotional, and the physical. And we had to find our own inner comfort. And sometimes we call this our own inner peace, our own inner balance, our own inner lifted higher vibration. And we do this. And sometimes we manage that better than other times. But if it's just theoretical and go, yeah, I know what I have to do, we don't practice it, it's not sustainable. You all know learning happens by doing, by experiencing. Repetition. Repetition is the key of success. Is that a Tony Robbins quote? Success in mastering something. Beautiful. You all master that home environment so well. Beautiful. Give yourself some credit. That's lovely. Nice practice, everyone. Good. Oh, yes. Got 5 screens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Beautiful. Nice. Yeah, nice, beautiful. Good. That's it, Russell. Just mindful that you still want to, do you know how you're leaning on your right hand, your right arm? Just making sure that you can release that a little, relax into it. Yeah. Here we go. Nice. Chest is open. Breath is effortless. The other 2 ideas that she gives us here for mantras for daily living are, I put my faith in the permanence of change. I put my faith in the permanence of change. Letting go of the past revitalizes today. Nice. And the past could just be that last hour. You know, that hour before the yoga practice. Like, okay, having a little ritual to find the flow between your home life and your work life. Maybe you're parenting and sort of homeschooling ideas, duties, and your work and your own self-care. Nice, doesn't have to be dramatic. Letting go of the past revitalizes today. It also, to me, I think it implies that when we let go of that last breath, that last conversation, that last what has happened, then we can be fully present in the now, in this moment, breath by breath, one at a time. And knowing and trusting that we and everyone else always does the best we can at the given time. Without given knowledge, without given circumstances. Beautiful. So perhaps if that sequence, that side bend dragonfly on one side and the dragonfly forward and onto the other side has resonated with you and you go, that could be a little yin practice, you know, and then as we later on do, going back into a back bend, few minutes, if you're choosing to not make so much time for a yin practice, that could be a beautiful little sequence. Nice. There we go. I'm suggesting that you're just checking in whether that's perhaps enough for you on this side, or can we do the 10 breaths? Maybe it's like, oh, this is easeful. Now I finally find comfort. Where am I going to put my hands? How is this supporting me if I don't have any props and I don't have a sofa or a wall? I'm just sort of in the middle of the living room here. Maybe this is really the side, maybe this is really getting you into that lower part of that side core of that quadratus lumborum area. And you go, that's where I'm breathing in, that's where I bring my energy in, that's where I bring my focus in. Or perhaps it's the backs of the thighs, inner thighs. Feeling the sense of lightness even in a strong shape. Beautiful. Make it a ritual to come out of this. And you know, you're at home, you know, we're going to go into a rebound. So if you go, this is just now becoming very supportive of me, then stay for a little longer. Otherwise, just starting to deepen your breath. Switching on from your core. You can come forward, swinging yourselves forward, starting to bend your knees. Oh, wow. Well done, everyone. I'm suggesting seated windscreen wipers before we go into rebound. But if you go, none of this, thank you very much, Bettina, I'm coming straight into my rebound, then that's what you do. Otherwise, those seated windscreen wipers are just our all-time favorite. Yeah. And you can do it a little lazy, not much moving here, or a little back bending and lifting up and going, yeah. And then like a cat and cow, this is cat, this is rounding, this is cow, this is lifting. You can sing along to it, you can do the animal noises. I've forgotten cat's name. You can't say it, I can't hear it. And then a rebound. Okay, just a few breaths in your rebound, and then we do a beautiful back bend. If in your rebound you want your arms overhead, as I do now, do that. Arms to the side is fine. Arms in traditional Shavasana position as well. And so here now it's like, okay, how efficiently, I like that word, can you actually become present again? Like, no, don't let the mind go, don't let the family members, don't let the no presence here. Breath up and down the spine, feeling the neutrality of this skeletal position here. Nice. No, now is now. Presence is important here. Even if we go 100 miles an hour in the rest of the day and we have many projects on the go, and we think 50 thoughts. This is now, this is presence. This is, for me, this is what she says, letting go of the past revitalizes today. Of course, it can mean different things, and it could be, you know, could have a more spiritual meaning to you as well. But it's like, no, that's letting go now, and now is now. Beautiful. Nice. Let's come one last time back into that feeling sense, into where we were breathing in with our Nadi Shodhana, that third eye, that sort of top of that triangle. What's going on there now? Has there been change? Or is it exactly the same as when we started? Why are we resisting change so much? Beautiful. Nice. And then we're having a back bend where, before we move, deepen your breath, switch on from your core, bending your knees. Back bend variations galore for today. I'd like us though to perhaps contemplate this one, because we haven't been on our belly. If you don't have a bolster, or only one family member has a bolster, then you roll up your mat, you get a few pillows. You're actually going to lie down like this. It's a gentle back bend, but it's often a little preparation for stronger back bends. If you go, what? I don't think so. You go, bolster, or your rolled up mat and your blankets like this, our traditional Baddha Konasana, legs any which way, butterfly position. What could you do? Cross-legged, straight, or just knee bend. Or you can use your bolster or your block, opening the chest. Like this. But we've done that on Monday, so maybe you want to do something different. The belly position is also useful if you need to have a little bit more space in that belly area. If you go like, I'm doing life in my belly, you know, all the uncomfortable emotions that aren't useful long term, I feel them in my belly, and I just need to stimulate that area a little more. Then the belly would be useful. That's it, that's it. Let me see. I'll give you some verbal help. Now, I need to take a screenshot here. This is just the best. I'll tell you in a moment why. That cat's looking right into the camera. That's just gorgeous. Okay, okay, beautiful. Nice. And of course, if you're on your belly, you turn your head to one side and you go, my neck's a little grumpy perhaps. Beautiful, nice, nice. The distance, that's it. My back heart can see parts, calf, beautiful, nice. Ingrid has chosen a different option, beautiful. That's it, Sabrina, lovely, nice. Yeah. So let's become muscularly relaxed again. Is this possible? Those of you on the belly, the idea is to find that muscular relaxation in the belly first. I mean, I know the back bend goes into opening the chest a little, and you feel that sense of compression in your small of your back and in your lower thoracic, depending on how high you lift and where your bolster is. But the broadness in the belly, softness in your belly. Nice. And those of us, I was going to say before, that feel life more in the chest, in the heart, we may have chosen an open, a supine back bend. Prone is on the floor facing down, and supine is facing up. And the way to remember is the soup Soup is held this way, so soup is facing up. Nice. And perhaps that was your intention and your motivation for coming, so you can practice that sense of letting go. That sense of when the muscular relaxation comes, if the tension leaves there, then that releases my mental and my emotional tension. And then equilibrium can be restored. There we go. And maybe you've chosen the belly position because you hadn't experienced that before. So in any case, but particularly if something is very new to you, let the experience, just honor the experience for what it is. And this is a bit like what we find ourselves in at the moment. When we let the experience to be what it is, it doesn't say automatically that we enjoy it. It doesn't say that we approve of it or we dismiss it. It just means that needs to be honored as it is. And that's perhaps a sense of letting go of the past revitalizes the today. If you're on your belly and you've turned your head to one side, perhaps see if it's useful to turn your head to the other side. Nice. If you're lying back and you have had the legs crossed or the arms somehow crossed, just finding the other cross, making ourselves balanced both physically, mentally, and emotionally. Yeah, all of us, regardless of what shape back bend we have chosen, prone or supine, see if you can feel the sensation or the energy exchange between the prop, whether that's a real bolster or you just a makeshift prop, and your physical body. And just see if you can hold that space. So hold that awareness between the prop and your physical body. See if you can bring your awareness sense there, your feeling sense, your awareness, your attention, your feeling, your internal looking towards there doesn't go anywhere else, just there. In a kind and loving and soft and smooth way. It's like, oh yeah, I'll see if I can do that. It's possible, isn't it? May not be easy. Nice, beautiful, beautiful expressions. So maybe that's a new experience with that prone, gentle back bend. You go, oh, I really like that. Do it again. And then so very, very slowly preparing to come out of this. How do we do this? We breathe a little deeper. I can lie on one side with the microphone. Breathe a little deeper. Switch on from your belly. And then very slowly with awareness, maneuver yourself. We're going for time. Into your final Shavasana. If you've enjoyed the belly, you can stay on your belly, but bring your prop out. And I'd like to experiment today if we could actually chant an Om in our lying down position. Might be a little tricky if you've in our Shavasana position. Might be tricky if you've chosen to lie on your belly. But if you are in Shavasana with all your props and all your things you need to keep you comfortable and safe and warm, just see if you could embrace that new experience. So we're becoming a little more flexible in our feeling, in our thinking, in our readiness for embracing change. We don't want to ever come into the state where we go, no, Om is just an Om if we do it in seated. Well, really? Good. Let me see. Can we all have hands in prayer, lying down in your own position, in your Shavasana position? Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. So again, still the hearts, the hand in prayer in front of the heart. We will share our cleansed energy field. We will shine our lights. We will continue, though, to reject drawing in and bringing in those vibrations from the lower. So let's chant an Om. Let's see how we go in this lying down position. Let's exhale. Big inhale. Just let that experience resonate. Maybe it becomes your new state of Omming. Nice. You're welcome to release the hands, finding comfort, finding rest. Notice how that Om actually resonates throughout each and every cell. How that Om was that final seal of the practice. Enjoying complete rest. A couple more minutes. Slowly now. Starting to notice the sound of the cymbals. Hope it sounds pleasing. And perhaps you can draw the sound in through your third eye. Beautiful. Then noticing the feeling sensation in your third eye. And noticing that sense of connection that it may give you to the universe, to outer space.
Starting to deepen your breath in a very soft and gentle and kind, compassionate way. Yeah. Befriending your breath. It brings you back to reality, to present moment, to what is real. Footsteps upstairs. Beautiful. Switching on from your belly. You can breathe deeper now. You can make some more vigorous movements. We're going to end up on one side, either the left or the right you choose this morning. Or oops, it's afternoon. Sideline positions, always useful to just recognize the fact that yes, all yoga practice is therapeutic. We are resonating on a different level now. What was your intention? What was your motivation for coming to the practice? And what are we expressing gratitude for? Maybe change can be something that you're grateful for. And then slowly coming up to seated. But of course, you're at home if you want to go, I'm staying snoozling. So thank you all for joining me this morning. I've kept you a little longer. What can I say? Beautiful practice. Hope it was useful to you. Enjoy the rest of the day. Enjoy the rest of the week. We're back again tonight, 7 o'clock. We'll move more dynamically. And then tomorrow night, Friday morning, Saturday morning, Sunday morning. And I'm going to unmute you. And I'm going to find out how everyone is going. And the name of Cat, I have forgotten. Let me just, stop the recorder.